What's good, guys? We back with another episode of the Mr. Power Podcast. We got a very special guest. I know you guys all rip. Y'all know who this is. We got Manuel Ramirez on here. Y'all know him from Power Book Force as Miguel. Say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, Power fans? Such a pleasure to be here with Mr. Power Universe.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the
So
invite, man.
appreciate it. So before we even get into it, everyone's been asking me one question. Where is Maria?
Oh man, I mean, I don't.
Where's she at, man?
I guess I'm gonna have to tell you. You know what I mean? You put me
Please.
on the spot. So she's somewhere in Saudi Arabia, man. I sold her to an Arab, and I got that Arab money for her. I told
That's
you. I
crazy.
told you guys, Tommy wasn't ever gonna see her again.
Okay, okay. So, kind of get into it before we even get into like the power stuff. I always wanted to kind of ask actors, what is acting to you like? When you think of just the word, what is it to you? Because I was watching a video the other day and I heard someone say that acting isn't really acting, it's just being present in the moment. Like it's not pretending. How much truth do you think there is to that?
It's There's a lot of truth to that, man. I can tell
Hmm.
you that there's been scenes where I get lost. You know, you start off. You let go, and then you're just in the moment and you're feeling like that person. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But
Yeah.
it's like I tell everyone, I'm not a good actor. I'm just a great liar.
Mm.
But there is a lot of truth in method acting. I mean, you just if you got a good partner in front of you, whatever they're throwing at you, whatever they're feeling, it's no different than real life. When let's say you experience tragedy. You know what I mean? Or you
Yeah.
get into an argument with your wife, that anger, or you get into a fight, like a confrontation on the
Hmm.
streets. So it's all really depends on who you have in front of you because there's a lot of actors who are very selfish. And then there's a lot of giving actors. Everyone on Power Man, no one was selfish, especially Joseph. Joseph gives you everything you need to look good. And that's what makes a good
Hmm.
actor. When you're not selfish, when you don't worry about how you look. And that's me. I never
Mm.
worry about how I look. I worry about how my counterpart looks. Because if my counterpart looks good, then in return he's going to give me what I need. I'm going to pull it out of him and I'm going to look good.
So,
And
so
when
what
you
makes
just with
them?
somebody who are
Yeah.
both just on the same level, man, it's
Mhm.
just magic. That's why that hate and anger between Tommy and Miguel was just so real. Like you could literally cut the tension with a knife.
Mhm.
And then
So
when
that's
they say
that's a that's
cut,
a yeah.
we're back to being friends. You know what I mean?
So how do you even prepare to play a character like that when you first get the script? Like, what is kind of your approach to playing a character? Does it matter what type of character it is, or is it the same approach every time?
I I did my homework. I really did my homework with Miguel.
Hmm.
Um, the Hollywood bad guy. He's always this tough macho, screaming at the top of his lungs. You know what I
Mama.
mean? Growing up in the hood, growing up on the streets of San Bernardino, the tough guy was never loud. The tough guy was always quiet and he stood about 5'2".
Mm.
You know what I mean? He'd walk into a
Yeah.
room, everyone knew who he was, and he'd go post up in the corner. And no one fucked with him because they knew.
Hmm. Yeah.
He didn't need to be loud. It's like who said it? Denzel Washington in American Gangster. The loudest one's always the weakest one
Yep.
because he's trying to prove something. He's trying to show you that he's not weak when in reality he is. He's just, you know, he loud pipes, but he ain't saying nothing.
Yep.
So what I did is I remembered the dudes from my childhood, my friends who wouldn't hesitate to stab you in the neck. And then I remembered Denzel in Training Day and Joe Pesci in Casino. Like they weren't big dudes, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
They just got, it was all about business to them.
Yep. They had that presence.
Yeah,
I like that you said that because me and my friends were talking about this. We felt like in Force season one, there was like something missing. Like this type of energy that I feel like your character brought, like that real gangster, like greedy energy that the OG Power had. And that's why I wanted to have you on because I'm like, you really kind of changed the trajectory of this show, I feel like. Because your character kind of came in and it's like, okay, he's applying pressure on everyone from Tommy to Diamond to Jannard. What was it like working with Joseph? Because I've heard so much good things about him. Like, what was that like kind of being a scene partner with him?
It was probably the best person I've ever worked with, man. And I
Wow.
don't just say that because it's Joseph and I know
Mhm.
one day he's going to see this. I can
Yeah.
honestly tell you, he, when he talked about power, he never said my show. He always said our show. Like, he was the
Mhm.
most unselfish person I have ever worked with. So it was great, man. Every scene he would prepare. You know, he'd be in the corner by himself. He prepared. He come with everything, and he just, you know how Tommy is.
Yeah.
Tommy knew how to push your buttons, and that was the thing about Joseph. He
Mhm.
knew how to push my buttons, and there was no way to push his buttons back because he's Tommy. You know, he's always in control. He's always
Yep.
2, 3 steps ahead of his enemy. So
Mhm.
I was always trying to catch up, not necessarily in my performance, but
Mhm.
as Miguel, when Abuelita told him, you have to be 3 steps ahead of him. And I said, I'm
Yeah.
always 3 steps ahead of my enemy. And she goes, she said, are you really?
Mhm.
But I wasn't. I was always playing catch up to Tommy. So the guy knew how to push my buttons. All you had to do was just look at my face. Every time Tommy came in the room, I looked like I wanted to kill him.
Every time.
So he's
So when
just an
you, yeah,
amazing actor, man. A very
mhm,
giving and unselfish actor to work with.
that's great to hear. So when you were coming into this role, like, were you already familiar with the Power universe? Like, how much did you have to research, or like, were you already a fan?
Oh no, I was already a fan. I had already seen
Wow.
the original Power.
Hmm.
I had just finished Force when I got the audition,
Mm,
and that was all
wow.
by accident. So I remember it was a Thursday. I wake up in the middle of the night, man. I had to use the restroom. I'm on the toilet sitting there, half awake, half asleep, looking at my emails, and I got an email for Power. And my manager asking me, like, what role do you want me to submit you for? And
Mm,
I thought I answered it. And then I let it go, went back to sleep. That Monday, my buddy calls me and he goes, hey, I need help with a self tape. He goes, you have time? I said, yeah. He goes, you didn't get this audition? And I said, audition for what? He goes, Miguel for Power. Dude, he's
mm,
a Mexican. He goes, if you audition for this, I know you're going to get it.
wow.
So I already had the sides. I didn't get the audition. I helped him with his, and I immediately get on my phone with my manager and I say, hey, I said, why didn't you submit me for Power? She goes, I sent you the breakdown. You never answered it. She goes, so I figured you didn't want to do it. I told her, I said, get on the phone right now and call the casting director. So she got on the phone, submitted me over. The deadline was 11 o'clock that day. So I had missed the deadline completely. But
Wow.
my intuition was telling me, practice these lines, be ready for it, because on Friday, you're going to get the audition. So, like that, you could tape it Saturday and you're already ready to go. You're going to have no problem with it. So Friday comes about 1 o'clock. She calls me and she goes, hey, I just got you the audition for Power. I was like, yeah, I knew we were going to get it. And she goes, how did you know? I said,
Wow.
because I manifested it.
Hmm.
So I get the audition. I shoot it Saturday. Very whitewashed. The dialogue was very whitewashed. So they really let me be Miguel. The Spanish is all me. I had to retranslate everything. The slang, all me, because it was very whitewashed. And even my wife said, she goes, you're changing too much. She goes, you're gonna make him mad. I said, if I do it this way, I sound like a white guy trying to be a gangster from the hood.
Yep.
I go, I'm not gonna get this. I go, let's just shoot it this way and we'll take our chances.
Mhm.
So we shoot it. The casting director gets it Monday. I immediately get a call and they say the producers want to meet you. You got a producer
Ooh.
session on Wednesday. So then they said, and you're gonna get another scene. So they
Wow.
give me a scene. It's literally 4 pages long of just dialogue after dialogue after dialogue. And I was like, oh, I looked at it. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was a little shook when I seen the scene because it was just so much. I
I
looked at my
bet.
wife and I said, damn it. I go, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to memorize this. She goes, you're a professional. Like Denzel
Mm.
said in Man on Fire, you're a professional. Get it done. So I
You do this
practiced, I
shit.
practiced, I practiced. When it came to it, dude, I killed it. I killed it. We got called on Monday, told we were booked, and I had to be on a plane that Friday to fly to Chicago and move there for 6 months.
Wow. So let's talk about that, right? As an actor, do you know when you killed it and do you know when you do bad, or are you just always like arrogantly confident, like, oh, I did my thing no matter what?
Um, Not necessarily arrogancy.
Hmm.
You do know when you killed it.
Yeah.
You could feel it because you can watch it, and even when you kill it, you still think I could have done it better.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
we as artists, we're our biggest critique. We're always going to think we could do it better, no matter how perfect. I could sit here after watching season one and tell you, man, I should have done that different, and I should have done that different, and I could have done that, and I should have added this. And then everyone else is like, dude, you're the perfect bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
you killed that role. I get a lot on TikTok. It's so good to see you in a different light because low key, I thought you were
Yeah.
really like this in real life.
I swear to God.
You know what I mean? I get it a lot.
Yeah.
People approach me on the streets and they think I'm a mean guy. And
Yeah,
then they're
because you come off as
surprised. They're
intimidating. Yep.
the majority of the time they're afraid to ask me for a picture. So they
Wow.
shake my hand. They're all like, I loved you on Power. And then I'm like, you want to take a picture? And they're all like, really, for reals? I thought you
Yeah.
would get mad if I asked you. I'm like, nah, man. I'm just Manuel Eduardo. That's who I am
Yeah.
when I'm not being jefe.
That's how you know you killed it though, when they associate you directly with like your character and they think that's how you really are. I feel like some actors take that offense, but like people really think that those are who you are because that's how they perceive you. So how does the audition process work? Like, are you just doing scenes with like a partner, or are you actually doing like tests with the actual characters on the show, like Joseph and the rest of
That
them?
that depends. That depends. Like Mireya,
Yeah.
Carmela, she had to test with Joseph
Hmm.
because she was playing his love interest. So she tested for that part after I got casted. So they
Mm.
casted me first, and then they casted Mireya because she looked so much like me.
Yeah.
And then they tested her with Joseph, and it just meshed well. I didn't
Wow.
have to test because I was just playing a bad guy, and I don't know what it was.
Hmm.
Normally, to be a series regular, you do have to test. They didn't test me. I don't know if it was the fact that I killed it,
Maybe.
or
Yeah.
or they were just that confident. You know what I mean? They had been searching for Miguel. I want to say 5 months prior than me getting casted. It just couldn't find the right guy.
Mm.
And when it
Damn.
came down to it, it came down to me and a guy that looked Dominican. And the showrunner was like, "No, he
Nope.
has to look Mexican."
Yeah.
So that's how I got the part. But normally, to become a series regular, you do have to test. But the process starts off with a regular audition. So they call you out, they send you the sides. I have my wife who reads everything with me, and you do your audition, you send it in, you hope for the best. At that point,
Mm.
your chances have dipped from maybe 80% to 50% because now it's going to
Okay.
come down to about six guys. Then your tapes are all sent to the producer. Sometimes there's callbacks, sometimes you just get it from that audition. But the majority of the times you're going to do a producer session. You'll do a producer session. After the producer session, you're going to test. But I didn't have to test. I just went to the producer session, and from that, I booked Miguel.
Wow. So you audition, you book the role, you guys start filming. Do you feel like off rip, like you're gelling with the cast? Like how do you kind of gauge yourself as you're filming throughout the season?
I tell you, this was the most family oriented cast and
Mhm.
crew that I ever worked with. So as soon as I got to set, it was like I had been there since the beginning.
Wow.
So that made it very easy to kind of gel with everybody else. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because there was no no's when it came to me. I got an approval from Joseph. I got an approval from all the executive producers. I got the approval from the studio, and I got the approval sign off from 50 Cent.
Ooh,
So I
yeah, that's
mean
how you
that, you know
know.
what I mean? When you're going into that, you're going into
Yeah.
it with your confidence very high.
Hmm.
And of course, your first day, you might have, butterflies, and you may fuck up your first take.
Yeah.
But then once you get rolling, and you taste you get a little taste in your beak, you run with it.
Mm. So, what's the kind of energy on set for a power show? Like, obviously, I know you said everything's family oriented, but from the outside looking in, it's a very intense show. Does it feel that way when you're filming it? Like, or is it not as serious as it comes off?
When you are filming,
Yeah.
it's as serious as you see it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Joseph just transforms into Tommy. Like the dude is
Yeah,
Tommy.
he did.
Yeah, he's just Tommy.
Yeah. Wow.
Everyone just they take their roles very serious. They put in the
Mhm.
work. Um, we do our table read. We work out the kinks there, and then once we get to set, everyone's always prepared, man. We no, there was no one who was not prepared. No one who got to set and was lacking their lines, or they were goofing off. Everyone was there to work. So it's very
Yeah.
intense. If it's an intense scene, it's very intense. Anytime I broke someone's hands, it was
Hmm.
very intense.
So, what was it what was the one thing that kind of surprised you when you joined this cast and started filming this show? Like, is there anything that kind of shocked you about the Power universe, like being in it for yourself?
Uh Honestly, no, man.
Really?
It was just such a great transition that I'm telling you, it felt like I was there since day one.
Wow.
I felt like season two was actually season one.
Wow. I felt like that too, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what a
Yeah.
lot of people say because I feel like season one of Power wasn't Tommy.
Yeah.
Something was lacking in Tommy. And
Yep.
if you ever talk to Joseph, you ever have him on your show, if you
Hmm.
ask him that, he himself will tell you there was
Yeah.
something missing in Tommy. When they brought Gary Lennon Jr., the
Bingo.
guy's an amazing writer. I mean,
Hmm.
above the fact that he led the first show,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He made it what
Hmm.
it is. So he took our show and kind of put us on the right path of old school Power.
Yeah. I
They
agree. You
got
can
rid of
definitely tell the
Dahlia and we just
difference.
started moving bricks.
That's crazy. Someone was saying that to me. They were saying that the Dahlia storyline just didn't feel like Power.
Yeah.
It's something was off. But like I kind of said, once your character came in, I feel like it brought this energy that kind of just put pressure on everyone else. What can we expect from Miguel next season?
Man, Miguel's more brutal.
Hmm.
And at times he's actually funny. He's not trying to be. He's not trying to be,
Yeah.
but there's just little certain words, little certain things that he does
Hmm.
that you're just like, man, this dude's a nut.
Yeah. So I'm curious, did you know that this was going to be the final season going in? Or
No,
did you find out when everyone
no,
really?
we
Wow.
we found out halfway through the season.
Damn.
I believe the news was broken to us episode 6 or 7.
Damn.
Yeah, we were sent out an email, and then we shot that day. So just imagine like us who already knew.
Yeah.
The way we felt, we still had to come to set and perform.
Yeah.
Like there was no bad news given to us.
Hmm.
So what I did, it was a very emotional scene. I just put it into my character, what I was feeling at the time. The funny thing is though, I wasn't feeling I wasn't sad. I was happy with the accomplishment
Hmm.
of what I have done on the 2 seasons of Power,
Yeah.
and I was satisfied and content and happy with what everyone else brought and how we ended it. Did we leave a lot of things unanswered? Yes, of course we did, because you
Yeah.
can't. We had 10 episodes. It's not like we can tie up all these loose ends. Did we end it right? We did force in Chicago justice,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, I saw.
it was a bit. You know, some people were when they told us at the end of that shoot day, it was like someone put a giant vacuum in the room and just sucked out all the air.
I can imagine while you're filming it, like that's
Yeah,
crazy. Not even after. So you had no inkling, like even as you were filming, like when you're reading the script, you didn't have any inkling, like, oh, maybe they're trying to end this, or it was just like,
it was. They really didn't try to end it until you really, as an actor, you really didn't see the ending coming and until about episode 8.
mm,
That's when you were like, okay, I can see the end of the road now. But from 1 to 7, no, you're just like, man, it's a crazy ride. Like if you think season 2 was crazy,
mhm,
season 3 is by far
even
light years
crazier.
ahead.
So do you know why they chose to end it? I feel like Force is very popular coming off of
I,
season two. I
I
was
mean,
shocked that they were ending it.
if you read the articles of what the I believe he's the president or the CEO of Stars.
Stars, yeah.
Yeah, he
About the
said it
spinoffs
was
and stuff.
yeah, he
Yeah.
said it was due to money and
Hmm.
it's cheaper to run 3 4 seasons and then spin off another new show.
Yeah.
So at the third season, you renegotiate your contract.
Mm, okay.
So if you ended at the third season, you don't have to renegotiate and you just spin it off and you just start all over again. And now instead of paying them more money, you either keep them the same or maybe bump them up a few bucks. So
Wow.
if you ask me, I think it was more a business move
Mhm.
because after this season, people are going to be like, I still don't understand why Force was canceled.
How do you feel about that though? That idea of just like doing a couple seasons and then just spinning it off. Don't you feel like that kind of contradicts the stories that they're trying to tell?
I think it comes up short.
Yeah.
Um, if you spin it off, I mean, are you going to bring back all the characters? That's the question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are these all these characters going to be a part of the new spinoff? Who knows?
Mhm.
And that's why I say they may leave a bunch of things in the air. And as the new spinoff progresses, little by little, you start bringing them back.
Mhm.
I don't know. I didn't get any. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't ask questions. I just get to set. I go to work. I do the best that I can. I don't fuck with nobody, and I leave everybody
Yeah.
alone. You know what I mean? They pay me good
Uh-huh.
money to play Miguel, so I come in and I deliver, and then I go home.
Yep.
So when everything happened, I really didn't ask any questions. A little bit of inside was told, but not much.
Mhm.
It's more like hearsay. You know, it's Tommy going back. The questions were: is Tommy going to California or New
Mhm.
York? They didn't
Yeah.
know. They still didn't know that direction. There was no pilot written. It
Mhm.
was all ideas, and they were barely working on the writers' room.
Wow.
So at that point, you're like, okay, well, is Mireya
Oof.
coming back? Is Miguel coming back? Is Two Bit coming back? You know, there was rumors that Two Bit was going to
Yep.
come back.
Yep.
They were going to bring people from the original Power. Is Diamond and Jannard gonna move wherever Tommy goes? So it was just so many things up in the air that were in question. And I feel like in a new spinoff, it's going to leave a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe the
Mhm.
first season, but as it progresses, they may have 3 4 seasons to basically tie everything in. And the way Power is, they're very good about tying everything in.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's like you could have continued this
Hmm.
for 6 7 seasons
Yeah.
and then
Facts.
spun it off into something else.
Hmm.
But I mean, you know, from what I hear, money's tight. If it was up to 50, 50 would have just kept going.
Yeah.
But
Facts.
you know, 50 no longer. I believe 50 no longer has full control of power because
Mm.
I think it's under Stars and
Yep.
Lionsgate.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So with having such a connection to this character of like being Mexican and everything like that, you probably grown like an attachment to this character, right? How were you satisfied with the ending of your character? Like, how did you feel when the season ended? Were you like, oh, like I felt like they could have done this, or were you like, nah, I'm good. Like, I like where he ended off.
I, I wish they would have done certain things different,
Hmm.
but they did do every character justice.
Mm.
Like, if that was it for Miguel, I feel like he rode off on a high horse.
Hmm. Okay.
Could they do anything different? Of course, they can always do something
Yeah.
different. You know what I mean? And me being
Mhm.
a writer, I look at it and I'm like, well, I would have done this and I could have done that, and I think they should explain this. But in the end, when you finally look at it, you're like, okay, they did. If this was the end of Tommy, they did Tommy justice. They did Diamond justice, Chernard justice. Every main character got their due diligence.
Good. So with you, you kind of mentioned being a writer, right? How much creative control does an actor have coming into a show like this? Because obviously there's a script, but like, how much can you be like, oh, well, I think things should be like this? Kind of how you said that you changed up the lines and everything and kind of implemented the Spanish. How lenient are they with that?
The majority of Hollywood is not very lenient.
Yeah,
They,
I
they
bet.
want you to stick word for word, even if the Spanish is horrible.
Hmm.
They're like, don't change it. That's why a lot of Mexicans will criticize Hollywood. You know, I watch
Mm,
something, and when you put a Dominican with a Dominican accent to play a Mexican from Mexico, I mean, you turned me off completely right there. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
no, that's bullshit.
It don't feel real.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But Gary Lennon was very lenient. He literally lets you play.
Hmm.
You know, he tells you, here, make them your own. Don't go and completely change your dialogue, but you want to change the way you say some words. You want to add a little something here and there. It may make it, it may not, because remember, we're down to like 43 minutes, 45 minutes per episode. The
Hmm.
script itself, it's already like 53 pages. So you know that 10 pages are going to be cut. So you as a writer, if you're going to add something, you better make sure that it elevates your dialogue. Because if it doesn't, it's going to be cut. It's going to be niched.
Wow.
The Spanish was so horrible they were using Google Translate.
No way.
Yeah, so
What?
they just the Spanish, there was no question about it. They were like, "Here, this is what we want you to say.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
sure you can understand what we're trying to say. Just fix it." And then I
Yeah.
would take it and I would add all the Mexican slang and the
Hmm.
words that we use. Because everyone thinks, when they ask you, "Oh, what are you, Mexican?" They're like, "No, no, I'm Puerto Rican." "Oh, okay. We're in Mexico is Puerto Rico." We're all Mexican to them. To Hollywood, we're all Mexican.
Yeah.
So they think we all speak the same, and we don't.
Hmm.
We all have different lingos. I'll give you an example. When I watch Griselda, have you seen Griselda?
The movie?
With
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, the TV show with Sofia
Mhm.
Vergara.
Yeah.
I literally had to read the translation because I don't understand that Colombian slang. You know what I mean? They'll tell you
Mm. Yeah.
carajo or hijo de puta, or they say these words, and you're just like, what? What it? I mean, I understand Spanish, but what the fuck are they
Yeah.
trying to say?
Yeah. Wow.
So that we're not all the same. You know what I mean? I cannot play you a perfect Puerto Rican because I don't know how they
Hmm.
speak.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If I'm gonna curse at you and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you fuck you. I tell you chinga tu madre, and then the Puerto Ricans may tell you mama bicho. So it's
Uh-huh.
different. At
Different
first, I didn't.
slang.
I
Yeah.
understand what mama bicho is because I know what mama is, and I know what bicho is. It's like
Yep.
a penis sucker. That's what they're calling you, but very vulgar.
Very
So
vulgar.
that
So,
that's that's
yeah.
that's one thing. Then and they
Yeah.
were they were just pleased with it. They were like, "Hey, do the Spanish your way. We're not going to question it." And I mean, my people loved it. Every time they come up, they were like, "You were so authentic on that show. The way
Hmm.
you spoke Spanish was just so authentic."
Yeah, I think Power does a really good job of doing that when they cast people. Is like if they get a role for a specific race, they will cast someone who is that
Yeah,
instead of just getting someone who can, per se, maybe camouflage as that. So, what does life look like when you're filming a show? I'm guessing maybe 6, 7 months of filming. What's kind of like the day to day getting on set? Like, how long are the work days? Like, how dreading is that?
I mean, there's some days, man. It all depends on certain directors.
Hmm.
I work with directors where I was on set for 12 hours,
Ooh,
and I work with directors where we finish in 7.
wow.
Now, I'm not telling you that I'm not trying to say that the ones who worked 12 hours were bad directors because they
Hmm.
were phenomenal. Robert Townsend. Robert Townsend loves to cover every angle. He
Mm,
leaves no stone unturned. And if you watch his episodes, he's amazing.
yeah.
One of my favorite directors to work with. Gary Lennon. He knows what he wants.
Hmm.
If he gets it in 2 takes, he stops. He said, "Okay, I got what I need." That's his vision. We move on. Uh, Eve Rivera.
Yeah,
Same
he's in the
thing with
OG
Eve.
Power, right?
The
Yeah.
OG Power. The dude
Hmm.
just run and gun, man. Great camera angles. He'll get his special camera angles that he does from like his music video days, and then he
Yeah.
gets the camera angles that the studio wants, and he's done. We're moving on.
Hmm.
And there was another female director. She loves covering every angle. She loves doing like air shots and shot from here over the shoulder, a swing goal. And there's not that they're bad directors. It's just that's their style. But once you put it together, it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it does.
So it's not that they're bad directors. It's just they work different.
Hmm. Yeah, they want different things. So when you get on set, everyone kind of has like their own method to prepare to like get into character. How are you like? Are you just like, oh, I'm chilling, I'm getting, you know what I mean? Or are you coming in like already as Miguel when you get to the parking lot?
Um, I prepare the night before.
Okay.
So I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna share a little bit of how I prepare.
Okay.
When I was the season 1, season 2, when I would prepare the day before, I got to film like say tomorrow at 8 in the morning. I got my call time. I would get home. I never left my apartment. I was always in my apartment. I never partied. I never went out. I was always focused.
Locked
The
in.
night before though, I had my buddy. His wife was a nurse, so he got me lean and oxycodone. You know,
Okay.
and then I had marijuana galore. I got a buddy who
Okay.
runs a
Got to.
dispensary.
Yes, sir.
So I would pop an oxycodone, get me a big old cup of lean, and I'd get stoned. And for some reason, it enhanced my mind. And I would sit there, and if I could be that jacked up and still deliver my lines and remember my lines
Mhm.
as I'm delivering them with no script in front of me, then I knew I was ready to go the next day. So when I
Yep.
got to work the next day, drank a coffee, had some good breakfast, went into my trailer, ran my lines. Not yet as Miguel. I was only Miguel when they said action because I didn't want to be
Mhm.
mean to anybody. I didn't want to feel
Yeah.
angry towards the crew or anybody. So, when I was there, I was Manuel. But when it was action, I was ready to go. But that's how I prepared, man. I would get stoned the day before and I'd be ready to go the next day.
That is a great way to prepare. So I always hear stories of actresses getting like stuck in their roles. Not even stuck in their roles like typecasted, but stuck in their roles like they can't turn the switch off. Do you ever feel like you've had roles where like you kind of caught yourself like still being in it out in the real world? Or can you just turn it off and on like whenever you want?
It all depends on the scene.
Hmm.
Some scenes will take it all out of you.
Yeah.
The diabetic scene where
Ooh.
I'm having a diabetes attack.
Yeah.
Um, I literally was pumping out push-ups and burpees to stay shaky and sweating and be soaked the way I was in between takes.
How many times y'all shoot that?
That was Robert Townsend. So I believe we shot, I mean, that one scene took like 4 hours.
Damn.
And we are just going over and over, and he would shoot it from the back, over the shoulder, this over here, that over there. We're catching all angles. Oh my God, can you do that
Mm,
again? And I'm like, I'm already exhausted after an
yeah.
hour and a half. And then
Wow.
I got home, and it was really hard to disconnect that night from Miguel.
Yeah.
So once again, at that point, I just smoked a joint. I downed some vodka, and I just laid down, man, and just passed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Passed out. But disconnecting from Miguel has always been fairly easy. But there is some
Okay.
scenes, man, that you're just caught up in the minute, and you're just like, you get home and you're still feeling Miguel, and I'm like, fuck, I just need to get him out.
Yeah, I asked because I feel like Power is such an intense show where every character is intense. I feel like it's hard to just turn that off after shooting for 12 hours of being in that. Like you probably feel like you are that person after a while,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
at times you're out in the street and someone makes you angry. You have to remember, you're not Garcia, you're not Jefe. You know what I mean? Even though you want to grab him by the neck and put him up against the
Yeah.
wall, you're like, no, no, no. I'm gonna go to
Have you ever
jail. I'm
had
gonna get
people try to
fired.
like test your gangster like when they see y'all
No,
in the
I
street?
got to give that to the fans, man. I've never been tested.
Good.
Um, I mean, can I turn into Miguel? Of course. Push me
100%.
to the brink. Anybody can be Miguel.
Hmm.
I will share a story with you that was a little scary. I'm
Okay.
with my family. It's my wife, my daughter, my son, and my son's girlfriend. And we're at Buffalo Wild Wings. We're having dinner. And this, kind of sketchy looking Mexican guy with his older son walks up to me with the most serious face, man. And he goes, "Are- is your name Manuel Eduardo Ramirez?" Like, this motherfucker said my whole name, bro.
That's
Right?
crazy.
And I looked at him and I looked at my wife, and my wife just, her eyes went big. And I go, "Do I know you?" He goes, Are you Manuel?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I looked at my kids, and my son's like ready to fight. My son's damn near 6'1", and he's like looking at me like, "I got your back, Dad."
Hmm.
So I was like, "Yeah, it's me." And then he just, eyes went big. "Oh my God, I'm such a big fan of you. You play Miguel Garcia." I was like, "Oh fuck." And here in
Wow.
Arizona, we pack our guns. So I take my little 380 everywhere I go. But into
Hmm.
the restaurant, there's a strict no gun policy. So I left my
Oh,
gun in the
okay.
truck. So I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm not packing.
Yeah.
If shit pops off,
Use
I don't
raps.
have my I don't have my pistol on me.
Yeah.
So that was my worry, because I had children with me and I had my
Mm.
wife.
Hmm.
And your main thing is, shit, you got to be the protector. And when you
Facts.
when your hands are tied, you're like, something's gonna happen, and they're gonna go down with me. Like, if I'm by myself, then fuck it, I don't care, test me.
Yeah. Hmm.
But if I'm with my family, you know what I mean? That's my world right there. So
Yeah.
all I can think about is, how long is it gonna take me to get to my truck to get that 380? You know what I mean? But when he broke his silence, because the way he asked me, man, it was so aggressive.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, shit, do I owe you money? Did I rob you? What the hell? Why are you coming up to me this way? But
That's a
then,
scary experience. Yeah. With
yeah,
your
it,
family
it,
there
it
too.
truly is, man. Because when I get recognized, they're like, hey, man, you look like that guy from Power. Or are you Miguel Garcia? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not this man. This man said my entire name, bro. So I'm
Yeah.
like, no one ever calls me my entire name. They call me by Manny, you know? So
Hmm.
I was like, oh man, I'm just, things are gonna hit the fan right now. And I got my wife and my kids. And not just my wife and my kids, I got somebody else's kid with me.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's what worried me. And thank God it wasn't what I thought it was, and it was just a friendly encounter.
So do you get recognized often? Do you feel like since you've done this role, like you get recognized more often? Do you feel like it's changed your career, or do you just feel like I've been doing this for a minute? It's
You
just
know,
another role.
I don't it doesn't go to my head. In Chicago, I used to get recognized. No matter where I went, I get recognized.
Yeah, I bet.
I went to a 50 Cent concert in Phoenix,
Mhm.
and it was like 50 people just taking pictures with me.
Wow.
I'd go get a beer. Somebody would come up. Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture, Jefe? Los
Hefe?
Angeles, I get recognized a lot. Here in my hometown, I live in a little town called Yuma, Arizona.
Mhm.
We're
Okay.
about 100,000 people.
Wow.
I don't get recognized much, but I do get recognized. And I'm just very friendly, man. I just appreciate all the love. I appreciate when somebody recognizes me because it just shows that I did good work. You know what I mean? And that's what
Mhm.
I'm proud of. That
Yeah.
I did good work and the people appreciate it and they loved it.
So when it comes to work, how do you determine what type of role to say yes or to say no to?
It's totally
How
on the
much how much
script.
does money factor into that? Or is it just like, nah, it has to
No, I
be a
won't.
defining
There's
role?
there's certain things that I won't do for money.
Hmm.
I don't care how much money you offer me. I won't do
Yeah.
those roles. But it it just has to be a good story.
Hmm.
I'll play a stereotype. I don't have a problem playing the bad guy, playing cartel, playing the
Hmm.
gangster. I mean
Yeah.
that's the story of my life. Queen of
Yeah.
the South, I played a cowboy
Yeah, I seen you in
cartel.
that Snowfall too.
Yeah, in Snowfall, I played a
Yep.
gangster in a mechanic jumpsuit. And Cobra Kai, I played another cartel Mexican
Hmm.
cowboy. And
Yep.
then we get the power, I play a gangster. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
with Miguel, it was very important that you seen a different type of gangster. I didn't want him to be New York. I didn't want him to be plain Chicago. I didn't want him to be Mexico cartel, and I definitely didn't want him to be LA Cholo.
Mhm.
So I feel like we took Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles and kind of meshed it well. The lady at wardrobe was phenomenal when she came to dressing Miguel. Like she really knew what she was doing.
Yeah, the wardrobes, Power's known for their wardrobes, man. Like, do you have
Oh, they
any
spend
input
money.
on that? Yeah, I bet. Like, is that something that you have saying, like, oh, he wouldn't wear this, or nah, my character would look better in this, or he would wear this, or
She was
it's just
so on
like,
point that
yeah,
she knew what I liked. It's
mm,
like I went shopping with her.
yeah,
And she knew exactly what I liked. And I did get to
yeah.
pick stuff because they wanted to give me like these real weird boots at first. And I looked at her and I said, "Can I get a pair of black Timberlands?" And she was like, "All right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. We'll get you a pair of black Timberlands." So
Mhm.
for Abuelita's funeral, she came up to me and she goes, "What kind of shoes do you want for the funeral?" I said, "I want some Stacy Adams." She went and she bought 5 different pairs of Stacy Adams, and I got to pick the ones I wanted to wear.
That's crazy.
And
That's
everything else, it
crazy.
was just she knew exactly what type of shirts. You know what I mean? He was kind of flashy, but not too much. He was still street, but it was like I went shopping with her. She read my mind.
Wow. Yeah, they did a great job with that. So, when you're reading a script for every episode, do you fear death is coming? Or are you like, oh, is my character going to survive this next episode? Like, are you flipping to the script to see if you make it? Or you just like, whatever the story gives is whatever the story gives?
I'll tell you one thing: the only one that never fears if he's dying is Tommy.
Tommy?
Yeah, all of us were on pins and needles this season.
Yeah, his plot armor is crazy.
You know what I mean? Because in power, no one's safe, man. In
Yep.
power, honestly, everyone dies. Look at Ghost.
Yeah. Yep.
So I feel like it wasn't just me, but I think we were all on pins and needles. We
Mm,
were just like, damn it, we'd open up that. If you didn't, this was the thing. If you didn't get a call 3 days prior, oh, a week prior, you getting the script, you
mhm.
knew you made it to the next episode
Oh, okay.
because you got that call. If you picked up your phone and you seen Gary Lennon, you
You're
were like,
done.
fuck, I'm dying.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
knew. So it was like pins and needles a week before. because you're just like, shit, am I gonna make it? Because they don't tell you. You don't know. We get the script 2 days before we got to shoot that episode.
So I'm curious, isn't that something that you discuss when you get the role? Like, isn't there like a kind of like a layout for your character arc, or like they
Yeah, but
don't
they don't
tell
tell
you?
you.
Wow,
They won't tell you
they don't tell you nothing.
because they there's a lot of things that can happen, man. You could
Hmm.
get pissed. You don't know what that person, because everyone's happy when you're working. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Everyone's happy. Everyone's
Hmm.
appreciative. And then they tell you you're gonna die, and they don't want you to get upset or start putting out, because once you don't work for them, man, they can't control you. You know what I mean? Your
Yep.
NDA
You can say whatever.
flies out the window. So they're afraid you're going to give spoilers, and that's
Mm.
why they don't tell you the layout, and they
Hmm.
don't give you anything beyond the episode where you die.
Wow, that's smart. I'm not gonna lie. So when you wrap filming, or even during your filming, how much do you actually get to see the visuals of what you guys are making? Or is it do you not see things till it gets aired out on actual TV?
The only time you get to see some visuals is if you're lucky enough to do ADR. And
Like the behind
ADR
the
is
scenes
when,
stuff?
yeah, when you say something and it didn't come out right, or they want to add a line or something, then you go
Hmm.
into a music studio or a sound studio, and then you re-record everything. And I always would ask, can I see the scene from the beginning so I
Mm.
can feel the energy? It was me bullshitting them because I just wanted to watch the scene. So that is like the only thing. You hope that when you go into ADR, you have to do something in every scene. So
Mhm.
like that you get to see all your scenes, but sometimes it's just one line and one scene, and you just get to see that one scene.
Wow. So how much is it collaborating as far as like your scene partner? Is it like do you guys practice the lines with each other outside of like say the table read, or is it just you show up know your lines, I show up know my lines, and we just play?
I never collaborated with anybody. We just showed up. I came prepared, and I was ready to make my counterpart or partner look good.
Wow,
I
that's
don't I don't
crazy,
know how
man.
I don't know how they prepared. They may prepare different, but I know that me, I was very to myself because I didn't want to fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Outside of work, and during work.
Yeah.
So I was more like, hey, uh, I'm gonna keep to myself, and I'm gonna stay indoors.
So when you say that you were like afraid of fucking up, right? Is that because it's power, or are you just like that with any job you do?
I'm just like that with any job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
One, I don't want to get canceled. You go somewhere, someone starts something, you hurt somebody, you beat somebody up, or they beat you up, and now you're in the hospital and you had to
Yeah.
work tomorrow and you have this big old black eye. How do you explain that, on set?
Hmm.
So it was for my safety, for somebody else's safety, and me not winding up in jail and messing up the next shoot day.
Yeah. So how do you get to the place where you say, I want to become an actor? How do you like, how? Like, when does that mindset come to you? Is this something like you wanted to do since you were a kid, or is it just something you kind
It
of
was
fell
all
in
by
your lap?
accident, man. Honestly, I I did some background work on a movie called Jarhead in 2004 with Jake
Mm.
Gyllenhaal and Jamie Foxx.
That sounds bad familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, and at first I hated being on set, man, because I didn't see no cameras. We were just marching, and I had military boots on. I had drill sergeants yelling at me. They were all in my face, spitting on my face, and I was just like, man, this is horrible. I don't. Who the fuck wants to be an actor? So I go on to the next scene, and Christopher Cooper is practicing his monologue. And I'm watching all this equipment just being moved all over the place.
Mhm.
I got Jake Gyllenhaal in front of me, and I got Jamie Foxx behind me, asking me where the women were and if I wanted to party tonight. And when I seen all that, bro, I knew I didn't want to do anything else. I wanted to be an actor. But
Wow.
before it was, man, when I was a kid, I wanted to be the next Michael Jordan. Then I found out I couldn't run and dribble at the same time. You know? I
So
thought I
was
was
this the
good.
first project you ever worked on, like with Jake Gyllenhaal and Jamie Foxx? That was
Yeah,
your
that
first
was the very
production?
first project, just
Holy
doing some extra
shit.
work.
Were you like starstruck? Like, damn, like,
You know what? No, that I was not. Me and Jake Gyllenhaal had a farting contest inside the movie theater scene.
yeah.
I smoked him out, bro. I'm proud of that one.
Oh my God.
But it
Great way
was
to
just
break the
really
ice.
fun. It was all by accident. I didn't want to be there, and then just everything just you see the magic, and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. This is what I want to do forever.
Yeah. I asked that because I feel like acting is one of those jobs where like it's not a set job. Like it's from role to role to role to
Hmm.
role. How do you manage that mentally? Like say you don't work for 6 months or 8 months. Like what's that like? Like do you feel like you're living on edge almost because you don't know what the next thing is?
You got to make sure you save your money.
Mm.
You got to make sure you invest wisely,
Hmm.
and you just got to try to keep your sanity, man. I haven't
Yeah.
worked since Power. The industry is extremely slow. We're talking about January 19th was our last work date, and my last
Wow.
check came in the last week of July. So I haven't had a paycheck since then. So it's what August, September, October, midway through November. We're going on 4 months,
Wow.
and the industry still hasn't recovered from the strike. So there's
Mm.
people who haven't worked since the strike started. You know what I mean? I got blessed that I was able to go back to work, and I got six
Yep.
months of money, and I
Hmm.
was able to put some money away. I'm able to continue with my health insurance. My kids are taken care of. My bills are paid. My wife has a regular job still, and I thank God for all that. You know what I mean? You just got to be smart. You got to balance everything out. But mentally, it can be draining because you're like, well, I seen this role. Why didn't I get called? There's
Hmm.
always 1,000 reasons why you don't get called for a role.
Yep.
So you as a performer, you keep asking these questions and you question everything, but you got to try to keep your sanity one way or another and stay busy.
Yep. So you mentioned the writer's strike. Kind of talk about that a little bit because I feel like people don't really understand how that has impacted the industry and shows being produced or not. How much did that affect the industry? Because I don't really feel like it affected Power much. I mean, you guys were still
Well,
filming,
it
right?
didn't affect it didn't affect the shows who were scheduled to start before the strike,
Mm,
because there was
okay.
already they had already been picked up for another season.
Yeah.
When the strike happened, there was so many shows in the can, so many new things coming out, that when the strike happened, I want to say about 80% of those shows got canceled. They didn't even get a season one. They were just like, hey,
80?
you know what,
Oh my
we're scrapping
God.
those.
Wow.
The strike was almost a year long, which gave these studio executives time to sort through all their numbers.
Hmm.
They saved, I want to say about 800, no, about $500 billion during the strike.
Billion?
So they started looking at the numbers of what wasn't profitable, where the ratings were on everything, what wasn't making money, how they can change the industry to make more of a profit, turn more of a profit, and pay out less.
Mm,
That's where Stars was like, well, if we just do spin-offs and we run them 3, 4 seasons, then
yep.
we're saving money instead of paying them. You renegotiate season 3, renegotiate season 6. We
Oof.
eliminate those. We either never renegotiate or we renegotiate once for one season and then we cut them.
Wow.
So that's what happened. And since so many shows were already canned, there's like nothing right now. And the executives are, they're worried about money. I understand both sides. That's why I wasn't for the strike. I just wanted to work. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
was supposed to work
Yeah.
May. We went into strike in July. So I had a paycheck. So it was frustrating for me. I get
Yeah.
it. I don't know. Everyone has their reasons why they went into strike. I didn't vote for the
Mhm.
strike, but whatever. We went into a strike. We gave them time to look over the numbers. And in the long run, I feel like nobody won. The actors didn't win or the
Mhm.
studios didn't win because there's no new content coming out. They're losing subscribers and there's no work for us. Some of us could be constantly working, and right now at this point, we're not. So I feel like it was a lose lose situation.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because I want to talk about the business side of acting. So when you get a role like Power, any role, is there certain things that you're negotiating for that are like things that you have to have, like, okay, well, I need this or I want these residuals. Like, what's your approach business wise to like the back end of a role? Because obviously you're going to be acting, but when you're not on the show and they're still making money off your character and things like that, what's your approach to that, like with the contracts and stuff? I'm curious about that.
You just have to make sure that you have a very good agent,
Mm,
and you have to be able to trust your agent. And my
hmm.
agent's a shark. Like,
Yeah.
they hate negotiating with her. She does not break. She will not
Yep.
break. And
Yep.
she knows the worth of her clients. Her
Hmm.
name's Melissa Hutchinson, and
Okay.
she's with Innovative Artists. And she's a fucking shark. Like, she goes
Wow.
in there, man. If she tells you, because she told me, she goes, if I tell you to walk away, you need to trust me and you're gonna walk away. And I was like, she goes, let me be the bad guy. You go in there, I'll smiles and kill your character. I'll be the bad
Mm,
guy. She got me such a nice check that for being a series regular for the first time, I've never heard anybody make that kind of money. So, like,
mm.
I'm my gratitude for this woman. I am truly glad that she came into my life.
Excellent. So you kind of said that, like where she said, "Oh, well, if I tell you don't take this, don't take this." Is there ever like conflicting, like butting heads, like, no, like I want this role, I feel like I want to do this role, or is it just like, I'm gonna just trust you? How much of that is like, I don't know.
I think it all depends on the person, how much you trust your agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
For me, that's why you work for me. That's your job. It's not mine. I don't
Hmm.
know the industry. You've been in the industry 30 years.
Yeah.
How am I going to tell you how to do your job? You know what I mean?
Heck.
It's like it's like I give you an example. When you go to the doctors and he's telling you, well, you can do this or you can do that, and you're like, well, you're the doctor. What do you think I
Yeah.
should do? You're giving me the option. What do you
Yeah.
think I should do?
Hmm.
That's why I'm paying you, so you can tell me what I need to do. So my trust in her, even if I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I ain't never made that kind of money. Like, that changes my life right now.
Yep.
If she would have said, you're walking away, I would have walked away. No doubt about it.
Wow. So, like you said, how there might be times where you're not working and stuff like that. How does an actor even go about managing their money? And talk about like taxes too, bro, because I feel like they never talk about that. You always see these actors' salaries, they're making this and that, but they never talk about the back end, like the salaries, the agent, the publicist, all of that stuff. They never mention
First,
that.
before I even get my check, let's just say, let's say my check is 10,000.
Hmm.
Before that check hits my bank account, I already paid out 25%. 15 to my manager, 10% to my agent. So it leaves me what? $7,500. Then here comes Uncle Sam and he's like, "Hey, you owe me 39%."
Damn.
So then Uncle Sam is taxing you not on $7,500. He's
On the
taxing you on the
10,000.
full 10,000.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's $250 that I didn't even get.
Hmm.
And then you get that and you got all your bills piled up. And you're just like, yeah, well, now I'm broke. So luckily we get a very, very nice salary, but you don't see all that. Even if you make $1 million, you're not going to see $1 million
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
after you pay your reps and you pay Uncle Sam. You're walking away with maybe $350,000 out of that money. So they think, oh fuck, you made $1 million. No, I didn't make a million
Yeah,
dollars. I made 350,000. Yeah, it's
that's
still a lot of money,
insane.
but compared to $1 million,
Yeah.
that's not what
It,
you see. Everyone thinks we see that. You don't see that. So imagine someone who makes $50 million.
mm,
They're walking away with like 23, 24.
damn, that's actually insane.
And the more you make, the more they take.
The more, yeah. Wow. So they're really taxing you on money, like they're taxing you on your whole check, not even what you get after you pay your reps and your agents
I
and
mean,
things like that.
at at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, you get tax breaks for that,
Yeah.
but it's not like you get that money back.
Hmm.
Every year I've been on power, they they tax me up the wahoo, and then at the end of the year, when I do my taxes and I put in all my deductions, I still owe them $12,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
So how much do you feel like a team is important? Like you spoke on the agent, but outside of the agent, is there anything else you feel like you really need as an actor?
I have a manager and an agent, and they
Hmm.
both do. It's like I get double the representation.
Mm.
So I'm either going to book through my agent or I'm going to book through my manager. But you're
Hmm.
going to pay them both. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
who got for you. You're going to pay them both because they're both constantly working for you. I feel like having an agent and having a manager, you're like ahead of the pack. But some people will just rather have an agent.
Yep.
But a manager is more close to you. They have more of a
Yeah.
close relationship with you. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
do all your press. They take care of getting you a publicist, special appearances, going to like Comic Cons and getting paid to go to Comic
Mm.
Cons, special appearances to go and do autographs. Your agent doesn't do that for you. Your agent focuses on your career.
Yep.
TV, movies. That's all she does or he does. And your manager focuses on everything else, like little money here and there, little piles of money coming in. So
So
I
yeah,
feel like you need them both.
I think that's a good idea. So when it comes to like saving money on that stuff, you know how like jobs have like 401ks and things like that. So there's none of that when it comes to the acting union. Like there's no safe plan. Like so all of that is on the individual.
The acting union, there's a pension that you
Okay.
pay into.
Okay.
Uh, your union offers you health care,
Okay.
but what you got to do when you get paid, because I have a corporation,
Hmm.
I open up a payroll and I payroll my money to myself. And that's where
Mm.
your payroll offers you a 401k. And now you start putting money into your 401k through your
Okay.
payroll.
That's smart.
But
Sounds like
it's
a
all through
business.
you. It's like you have to take care of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not your union. Hey, we got a 401k for you guys now. No, you have to do that on your own.
Is that something that you knew going in, or was that something that like your agency, your manager educated you on?
That's something that I learned from my fellow actors.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I learned it fairly early. When I
Hmm.
learned it halfway through Queen of the South.
Mm.
I had a buddy who I got real close with, and he was like, "Yo, man, open up a S corp and start saving more money and paying less taxes. Do you still pay a lot of taxes? You still pay a lot of taxes. I mean, the tax Uncle Sam's going to get his cut. Doesn't matter what you're doing, unless you're these rich corporations like General Electric, GNC, Ford. You're still
Yeah.
going to pay taxes. You're not up there.
So how much of where you live plays into that, right? So if you're filming in Chicago, but you don't live in Chicago, are they taxing you as if you live in Chicago because you are there for 6 months, I guess? How does that
You
work?
s- you're going to pay taxes in Illinois.
Wow.
Then, if you live in Arizona, you're going to pay taxes in Arizona because you live in Arizona and you work in Illinois.
Wow.
Then, still, you have to pay for a place to live in Illinois,
Mm.
plus your mortgage. So I paid my mortgage in Yuma, and then I paid an apartment in Illinois.
Wow. That's a hustle, man. I can't.
Yeah.
So is it like that every time you do a role where you're just gonna move there for however
If
long you're
if
filming?
you're a series regular, yes.
Okay. Okay.
If you're a guest star recurring or anything below a series regular, then
Hmm.
they as long as it's not a local hire,
Yeah.
they're going to fly you out there. They're going to put you in a hotel and they're going to give you a $60 per diem every day.
Mm. Wow.
When you're a series regular, they give you 30 grand to up and move.
Wow. Okay.
but you're still going to pay taxes on that 30 grand.
No way.
Yeah, you still have to pay Uncle Sam his cut.
Holy shit.
You get the deductible from paying that rent,
Yeah.
but you're still going to give Uncle Sam his cut on that money. Even your per diem. They say your per diem's not taxed. Bullshit. At the end of the year, when you get your W 2, your per diem's right there.
Wow. So is acting kind of like your main thing, or like are you also into business? Like, because obviously acting is like up and down. What are the things do you do to kind of keep yourself like sane, keep yourself busy and things of that nature
I
outside of dealing with the family?
I'm trying to grow my social media along with my family,
Yeah, I
and
seen that.
I
You're
work
funny,
out.
man.
I
Yeah.
work out. If I get bored, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. If I get bored, I hop in my car and I go do some Instacart. I don't need to,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? But I get bored and I'm like home and I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I gonna do? I don't have nothing to do today. I wrote the scenes I was gonna film, or I wrote my script. It's done. What am I gonna do today? So I just throw on my app, man. I'll go do some DoorDash or some Instacart. I ain't afraid to say it. I don't need to do it,
Yeah.
but it keeps me occupied.
Yeah. I
I,
like that.
I
You gotta
can't I
hustle.
can't hold a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Because hopefully God blesses me with a job tomorrow. I get a 9 to 5 today. I go through the background. I do the piss test. I do all that. They spent that money, and then I work one day, and I got to tell them, hey, guess what? I just booked the job for the next 6 months. I have to quit. It's not fair to the company that I went to go get a job at.
Yeah.
Before I my career started taking off, I was a sales rep for Pepsi. So I made hella money. I was making some really good money. That was my career job, and I left that when I booked Queen of the South.
Wow. So how how do you even have that conversation with your employer to say, "Oh, I'm gonna quit my job to go be a professional actor"? Like, how does that
They
conversation
looked at
even
me and
go?
they laughed at me.
Like, they didn't believe you?
They didn't believe me. They thought I was bullshitting.
What? Damn, they be hating. That's
Yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. They were like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, an actor. Oh, okay,
Wow.
that's on you. Are you sure?" I was like, I'm gone for 6 months. I mean, all right, can you wait for me?
Yeah.
No. I was like, all right, well, here's your job. I was there like 2 years.
So when you left Pepsi, was that when you kind of made the decision, like, okay, acting is what I want to do forever? Or were you still kind of on the fence, like,
No,
I
no,
want to
no.
see how this job
I mean,
goes?
acting was what I wanted to do since 2004,
Hmm.
but I had an intuition that this was the moment where my career was changing,
Mm,
and I had to really pay attention to this.
yeah.
And I mean, thank God I ain't stopped working. Yeah, I've had gaps,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been anything major to where it's like, damn, I have to go back to work, and hey, I don't know if I'm going to continue doing acting. Like, this role completely changed my life. So it's just a matter of the industry opening back up and start auditioning again.
So what is the industry truly like? Because you hear all these horror stories about people and on set and everything, but just what has your experience been being in the Hollywood, filming, doing movies, TV shows? Is it really that bad? Or is it just certain rooms that you might find yourself in that, depict that?
I I keep myself out of that scene. I don't have many friends.
Okay.
My wife will tell you I'm his only friend. That's what my wife will tell you. Um,
Yeah.
I don't put a lot of me, my personal stuff. I don't really put it out there.
Hmm.
Um, I just that's why I stay indoors, man. That's why I tell you
Yeah.
I don't get in trouble. I
Hmm.
don't fraternize with the cast. Not that I don't like them, not that they're mean or anything, but you got to truly watch what you say. You got to truly watch how you are,
Hmm.
because now the way our culture is, everyone gets offended from any little thing.
Facts.
And you might be joking, but they won't take it as a joke.
Hmm.
It's not the 90s anymore. So I don't go to Hollywood parties. because I don't want to see whatever the hell happens there. You
The
know what I
the
mean?
Diddy parties.
Ain't no party like a Didi party. You know what I mean? I'm not. That's not me.
Oh my God.
I don't put myself in situations where I'm gonna fight somebody if they try to Diddy me.
So
I won't stand for it. You know what I mean? So I stay away from it.
even if it's an opportunity that you feel like would help you business wise, you still wouldn't fraternize? No?
I've gotten to where I've gotten by my balls only.
Yeah.
I've done it my way. You know what I mean? I broke a lot
Hallelujah.
of rules.
Yeah.
I've gotten doors closed on me because I
Hmm.
maybe did something they didn't like, or but I just like I said, I'm gonna get to where I'm gonna get to at the beat of my own drum.
I
And
like that.
people, I get it a lot. You need to get out there.
Hmm.
You need to go to these parties. You need to collaborate. You need to meet people. I don't need to meet nobody, man. My
Yep.
work speaks for itself.
Hmm.
My work ethic, my professionalism, that's what's going to get me ahead eventually.
Facts.
You go to a party and you get ass wasted and then you make a fool out of yourself. And
Yep.
that's what they remember. They don't remember your
Mm-hmm.
professionalism. They don't
Hmm.
remember your talent. They remember you acting a fool at their party
Yep.
and looking like a dumbass, So I just stay away from that. I'm not worried about somebody liking me. I'm a good person, genuinely. I respect everyone. I show everyone common courtesy, and I'm just genuinely nice. I
That's
treat
real.
everybody with
That's real.
respect, man. I treat you the way I want to be treated. So
Yep.
I feel like that's enough for me to get ahead. Being professional, not fucking with nobody, and doing my work that I
Yep.
got paid to do.
I'm glad you said that because I feel like people always try to cut corners for opportunities, but it's like it's never really worth it in the end when you see where it gets you. So, for someone who would want to be an aspiring actor like yourself, what's the approach and the mindset, especially now with all these writer strikes? Like, if someone wants to get into acting, what needs to be their approach?
Perseverance and just be an idiot that does not understand the meaning of no.
So, did you take acting classes or were you just a
No.
natural? Did you do, bro? Really? Wow.
I learned how to act from watching Denzel movies.
Yo, I've heard so
Denzel
many people say that, bro.
Denzel is my acting coach,
Wow.
and my dream is to be in the movie with him.
Denzel.
And my wife will tell you. She says, "I was put on this earth to work my butt off and make sure he gets to Mr. D."
You got a real one, man. That's
Yeah, yeah, I do, man. My wife did all the heavy lifting to get to where I'm at, man. I owe her the world.
talk about that because I feel like that's something that's not talked about for people in your profession, the effect on like your family, right? If you're away filming for 6 months, you might not see your family. How much do you have conversations with your family about like, yo, like I'm locked in right now, like this is what I'm doing? Do they understand? Is that something you discuss with them?
I think it's more. I mean, first I'll tell you, the journey was tough.
Hmm.
There was many times where I just wanted to throw in the towel. But my
Yeah.
wife never gave up on me. My manager never gave up on me when I gave up on myself. It was times, man, that I would go in a corner and cry by myself, because I didn't know. You felt like a loser. You're like,
Yep.
I gotta provide for my family.
Mm.
I don't have any experience doing nothing. I don't know how to do anything. All I got is a
Yep.
high school education and like a fucking arithmetic class in college. so
Out the
so
mud.
you're wondering and telling yourself, you're a fucking loser. These kids depend on you. You're not helping your wife enough. She has the heavy load, and my wife's working 10, 12 hours. You know what I mean? Slaving away for the
Mhm.
for the corporate man. And never once did she tell me you need to quit. You need to get a job. Never once, man. She just kept telling me you need to keep pushing. So that right there is a job in itself.
Mm.
Keeping your sanity and keeping the faith and trusting in yourself that you're doing the right thing. Now, once you get there, it all depends on the person, man, because you're making
Mhm.
money. You know what I mean? I could have said, hey, hun, I'm going to be away 6 months. I may see you once a month, but I think we should save money instead of me flying back and forth.
Yep.
No, that wasn't my case, man. Like I need to be with my wife. Like
Hmm.
I need her like I need air. So I would work, make sure that I had a week in between, and I'd fly home. And then I'd fly
Yep.
back the day before I had to shoot. But I
Wow.
always came prepared. Never once did I stumble. I
Hmm.
balanced everything out no matter what cost it was because not all money is good money.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
100%.
you take care of your wife's needs emotionally, sexually, and then you go back and you take care of your boss's needs professionally.
That's a real, bro. That's real. So is that when you have these conversations, do they understand like this is what I'm doing for a career? This isn't just, oh, I'm doing this project and I'm coming home. Like, no, this is what I'm doing for my life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because it's
they
yeah.
all understand. I feel
Yeah.
like uh, my wife, you know, because we work so hard to get to where I'm at, and not just that, I have a 17-year-old daughter
Mhm.
who who travels with me everywhere. Like
Mm.
she's like, oh no, I gotta be with you because there's these skonkas. She calls them skonkas, like skanks. She
Yep.
goes, these skonkas are out there prowling, Dad.
The
So
fuck
I have to
boys.
watch you. So my wife, and it's not that my wife tells her, and my wife tells me, well, I sleep fine that night because you already got your personal bodyguard.
Hmm.
So my wife, even when my daughter can't go, she's like, "Hey, you got to go to work. This is what we work for." And then the boss never told me nothing because I always gave it all. I never had an excuse why I messed up because I never messed up.
Mm.
I went to work, I did my job. I came home, I did my job. It's just really on the person how you balance everything out.
Wow. I can imagine like balancing all that, having a family. I feel like just working alone is stressful, but
Yeah,
then having a family where you have to like provide while doing that job is like a whole nother mind game mentally, I feel like.
it's a whole different beast, man.
Yeah. But I feel like it could also be a positive if your family's invested in that. That could definitely be a great support system.
It really is. It really is. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It makes it easier to go to work.
Is that a craft that like you would be proud if your kids like indulge in, like acting, or is it like, nah, I wouldn't want my kids to be actors or actresses,
I I tell my kids
or
you
do you
could be
not care?
anything you want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was laughed at from my own family. You know, I would hear the whispers on how I was a loser and an idiot.
We're trying to be an
And in the
actor?
end, I'm the one, yeah, for wanting to be an actor. And in the
Ooh.
end, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I tell my wife all the time, I don't know how you seen perfection when everyone seen a loser
Mm.
and you were always my backbone when everybody dragged me through the mud. My own siblings, my parents, my cousins, my uncles, they would all laugh, man, except one uncle. One uncle would always tell me, all you need is one door to be open. He goes, you're gonna
Yep.
be bigger, you're gonna be the biggest Mexican actor to ever grace the American cinema. That's what rest in peace, my Uncle Alvaro. Always, always.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else, I won't say no names, but everybody else just laughed, man, and call me a loser and how I needed a real job and you know, I was a piece of shit for not helping out my wife. Now, don't get me wrong, man. I hustled. I street hustled.
Mhm.
I did what I had to do. I did, and everything was legit. It wasn't me selling drugs or running a trap house or anything like that. You know, I did
Yeah.
legit things. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? If it was fucking picking up cans to recycle from a lady's house or s- recycling scrap metal, recycling electronics. You know what I mean? I had a little beat up truck and I would go drive through neighborhoods picking up all this metal and then I'd get there with like 2 tons of metal a day and I'd come home with like 400 or 500 bucks. So I did help my wife, but she took the heavy load working for somebody,
Mhm.
working a 9 to 5, clocking in, clocking out, having somebody tell her what to do. So thanks to her, we're where we're at, but I did help. It wasn't like I just sat around and did nothing. It's
Yeah.
just I didn't have a steady job that was for sure income. If I didn't get out and did do that, I didn't make no money.
Yep.
So that was the difference, that I never had a career job. Up until Pepsi was when I kind of slowed down on the acting towards the
Mhm.
end. And then that's when God came and said, hey, you let go and you let me. So here you go. I'm finally going to bless you.
Man, when you talk about the family not believing in you and stuff, like that's crazy to me. Because
The
like you
funny thing
fast
is
forward
now,
right
now they all
now.
say, oh, I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
knew you were going to
yeah,
make it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm all like, yeah, well, I remember that comment you made.
Yeah.
I remember that chuckle you made and you looked away and laughed.
In the
But
moment,
okay, yeah, sure, you.
what does that feel like in the moment though? Because like it's one thing when like people that you don't care for say those things, but when people it's the people that you supposed to value, like does that discourage you to the point where you're like, damn, I don't know if I want to do this, or is that like, nah, I'm just gonna prove I'm wrong?
Honestly, man, I never care what anybody thinks.
Mm,
Never did. You
mm-hmm,
know what I mean? Their opinions of me never mattered. They were never important. They were nothing. It was nothing that would dwell on me.
mm,
What what would bring me down was my own mental health.
mm. Facts.
Because you know what I mean? You go 2, 3 years without booking a job. I think I worked the job. The last job I worked was 2016. I worked one in 2018, and then I didn't work again, and my career didn't take off until 2020. So in that time span, it was like 2 year gap of not booking anything.
Hmm.
You start questioning
Yep.
yourself, and you're just like, "Fuck," like, what am I going to wait until I'm Samuel L. Jackson, 44, and break through? Like, is it going to happen for me? I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So you question yourself, man, and it was always my own mental health. It was never my family putting me down. Like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, that's what you think of me? Yeah, no, fuck you, not fuck me. That was always my attitude. Like I didn't care what they thought. Like you
Yeah.
are irrelevant to me. You don't put money on my table. You don't pay my rent. You don't pay my bills. You don't buy my kids school clothes.
Mm.
So you can go eat a bowl of dicks. You know what I mean? That was
Talk
always
that
my
shit.
attitude. And
Yeah.
then and then the funny thing is, once I broke through and I was hearing oh, I always knew and I always watch your stuff, and I still stayed humble. I could have been a jerk.
How? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm not being humble. Like you have to know that you didn't believe in me. Like you have to feel that.
Yeah,
How do you
yeah.
just let them slide? Like you,
Because God
you
says
gotta
to
flex at least
forgive.
a little bit. You gotta flex at least like a little bit. Like, yo, I'm doing
Because
this. Like,
God said you have to forgive.
yeah, yeah, yep,
You know what I mean? God
yeah.
blessed me. God blessed me. And how am I going to look in God's eyes when I go and belittle someone like, hey, fuck you. You didn't believe in me. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And now look at me. Eat your words, motherfucker. Like
yeah.
it's just pride. Pride is no bueno, man. It's
Mm-hmm,
God tells you don't be prideful, don't be boastful.
yep,
Just let it go. I'm here. I always knew even though you didn't, I always knew I would be here. So you
yep.
stay humble. And I think it's like I always tell people, kindness and love trumps everything.
Facts. Yep.
If somebody is angry or they want to hurt you, kill them with kindness and love,
Mm-hmm,
because it's going to hurt them more
yeah.
than you getting into a confrontation with them, because
Mm-hmm,
that's what they want.
yep.
So just trump them with kindness and love. And that's what I always do, man. I try to do that all the time. Do I do it always? No. I'm a sinner.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm
We
not
all
Jesus
are.
Christ, but
Mm-hmm,
I stay close to him because I'm not the best father. I'm not the best person because I do drugs, because I drink. I stay closer to God because I need him more.
That's a bar, man. I'm glad you said that because that's a hard line to manage when you have all these haters and stuff, and then you finally do the shit that you knew you was gonna do, but they didn't believe in you. To still be like, I'm cool on a daily basis is very hard to do.
You just
Man,
sit
I
there with a
really
smile, man. That's it. And
yeah,
nod.
yep. So is there any other topics that we're forgetting or did you want to touch before we get you out of here? Anything you wanted to touch on? Tell the
Nah, man.
people,
I just want to tell you that I'm very thankful that you reached out, man, and invited me to
absolutely.
be a guest on your show. Like, I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate every person that's shown me love. I appreciate every comment on our TikToks. And I definitely love the fact that I get the opportunity, even though it's only TikTok, I
Hmm.
get the opportunity to make you smile
Yep.
instead of fearing me.
Hmm. Yeah, likewise, man. I was very surprised when you responded because you're actually my first actor, like actual actor on this podcast from Power. So it's crazy. It means a lot. And like I said, with the keep doing that TikTok stuff because you're gonna blow up. Like that family content is the best type of
Thank you,
content
man.
to do. It's the most relatable. Yeah, that shit is funny as hell.
That's what we try to do. We try to put
Yeah,
our best foot forward and we try to be creative with it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And we're
yeah,
just like I tell everyone, we're just bridging the gaps from generations, bridging the gaps of color through laughter, man. We just want to
yes,
make you
sir.
laugh. That's all
Yeah,
we're doing. We're just making you laugh and we just want to show everybody love, man. You know? Just love everybody.
yeah. You're definitely doing that. I'm not gonna lie,
Thank
you're
you.
definitely doing that. So I appreciate you, man. And hopefully, maybe we can, connect again when the show's back on.
Hey,
Recap
you
some
just let me know
things.
when you want to do it, man. We can do a round talk after episode 1 if you like.
Oh, for sure. I'm locked in. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
got it.
yeah, yeah.
So am I.
I'm locked in. All right, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's
Hey,
a wrap.
all love, brother.